What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Shogi from Shook Earth Media, and today we are talking about Snow White and how there are no longer 7 dwarves. They've been canceled by Peter Dinklage. He has removed it. He has ixnayed on the Dwarves Day. However you say it. You can't have dwarves in your movie now, apparently, even though they're literally, a fantasy creature and not people with dwarfism. It's a whole different thing, but anyways, we'll get into it. I have the actual interview pulled up. I have seen a lot of videos about it, but most people aren't actually listening to the audio, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna check out exactly what he said in context. Now, what's funny to me with this is this interview here, WTF Podcast with Marc Maron. I listen to it sometimes. It can be interesting. He has a bunch of different guests on there, and there's been some really standout episodes. But what's funny is right before this, right here, Peter Dinklage is about to go into this rant about hypocrisy, and that's where this whole thing stems from. And right before that, you have Marc Maron and Peter Dinklage kind of going against the whole notion that, people aren't getting silenced. You can joke about anything. Saying that things are not, kind of going against how there's cancel culture now. And, people have always said you can't joke about certain things in comedy. People have always said, what? No, it's a little bit different now. We're not going to get too deep into that side of things, but there are definitely more barriers now than there were like 10 years ago about things you can't say and all that. And I'm not into it personally at all. Oh, something fell, but that's okay. I'm not into that personally. But what's the irony is that they're saying, that's not happening. This gaslighting about the whole woke thing and how there's things you can't say and all that. Gaslighting that's not happening. And then he jumps into this rant about Snow White and gets the fucking movie essentially canceled. We'll get into that in a second, but let's listen to it.
No, there's a lot of hypocrisy going on, I gotta say, from being somebody who's a little bit unique, front row seat to some...
Really? Like what? Like what do you see?
Well, it's really progressive to cast literally no offense to anything, but I was a little taken back by the they're very proud to cast a Latino actress as Snow White.
Yeah.
But you're still telling the story of Snow White.
Yeah.
7 dwarves.
Yeah, so I don't think it's progressive to cast a different race than what somebody might expect in a character. I honestly think when it comes to these visual animated things, I tend to believe that there's a integrity to it and how it was originally designed. And if you're going to remake it, you should try to preserve the look of the Snow White character. It's a very popular character to this day, very influential and all that. So I'm not necessarily into changing it just for the sake of changing it. I mean, this is a German story, and it's she's described as Snow White, whose skin is white as snow, I think. That's not something I really harp on too much, because at the end of the day, if the person does a good job, it's whatever. I'm down for whoever, but he's right in the sense that they're acting all proud of this as if it's some kind of achievement, and all they really did was hire somebody for a job. So, it's I don't look at it as anything amazing or progressive or anything like that.
Sure.
Take a step back and look at what you're doing there.
Yeah.
I know. That makes no sense to me.
Well,
you're progressive in one way, but you're still making that fucking backward story of 7 dwarves living in a cave. What the fuck are you doing?
They don't live in a cave. They live in a house. I don't know if he's talking about the original story or not. I actually haven't read it recently. I read it when I was a kid. But when it comes to the dwarves, first of all, they're not the same as people like you, people with dwarfism. It's a fantasy world, a whole different species. It's not the same thing. They're not humans, okay? It's not humans with a genetic abnormality that are dealing with a certain affliction. This is a race of people that's just how they are. It's a different species. They're short, but to me they're portrayed with dignity. They're given a lot of positive traits. They work hard. They are doing essential work, they are mining. They are providing for themselves with that work. They work hard and they whistle while they work, so they have a positivity about life. And still, while they are doing their jobs and working diligently, and they're portrayed in fantasy generally outside of Snow White, dwarves are portrayed in fantasy as master craftsmen, as incredible warriors, as people to admire. People, they live underground. In Tolkien, they live underground, but they make that work for them. They are miners by nature. They live where they work. So all that makes total sense, and all that's positive. There's no negativity here as far as I'm concerned. The only thing is there's sometimes like little bits of like, oh, they might be a little too greedy over the gems and stuff. When it comes to like Thorin and the Hobbit and like some stories like that. But that's not even really at play here in the Snow White example, as far as I can tell. So I don't see how there's any stereotypes or anything going on. So I have to say that I completely disagree with it. And I don't see how it's a fucking backwards story about dwarves. I just don't.
Man, have I done nothing to advance the cause from my soapbox? I guess I'm not loud enough. I don't know what studio that is, but they were so proud of that, and all love and respect to the actress and to the people who thought they were doing the right
all
thing.
Love and respect, but I'd like you to get fired from your job. I guess I don't know, like all love and respect, but your fucking like movie should be canceled, and there's a big problem with it.
But I'm just like, Joe, what are you doing?
Right.
And I remember doing. I played Hervé Villechaize in an HBO film.
And then he's going to transfer into something else. We won't listen to that. I do want to play a bit before to show you guys what I was talking about.
I think that, this idea that there is a woke comedy
right.
and an anti-woke comedy is fucking ridiculous.
Right.
And, if you consider yourself anti-woke, then I think you're carrying water for right-wing propaganda.
Yeah.
And I think that you're a hack because the job is to think for yourself.
Yeah.
So what, if you can't find your voice in a world of diversity and respect, then, what are you really? Yeah. And if you can't transcend that by being, respectful yet still provocative, then, you're not really challenging yourself. All right.
I think he's carrying water for the censorious nature of... it's on both sides, but especially the progressive side nowadays. He's carrying water for the fact that, 10 years ago, transgressive, offensive humor was, the most popular. And, I grew up listening to, Eminem, Odd Future. These are, rappers that say very offensive things, and the whole thing was the shock value and, supposed to make you feel uncomfortable. So I am not ever going to be in favor of this new landscape where it's people are extra cagey about things, and I think it's supposed to always be, you should always be trying to push the boundaries, so... They're setting up new boundaries when I thought we were about pushing away the old boundaries, so to me, he's gaslighting here, and Peter Dinklage agrees, and then they immediately go on to say about how they should censor something else. And that's exactly what happened, because Disney is taking out the dwarves, bro. Yes, you heard that correctly. There will be no dwarves in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Look at this. Instead of dwarves, Disney will fill the void with a group of what they describe as magical creatures, according to casting sheets that the Wrap has seen. So they're looking for voice actors to give these creatures personality. Now, what I want to know is, did the film... It's in production now, so they're shooting it now? They're changing this all on the fly? Or was this always their plan, and they're just trying to phrase it to make some of the complaints go away? What's going on? I don't know. Shut the fuck up, Fox News. Okay, and then I don't know what how this is helping anybody. It's not a stereotypical thing. It has nothing to do with dwarfism. It's just its own species. You know, are we gonna say elves are problematic now because maybe certain people have pointy ears? I mean, it's definitely a thing that I'm sure it's happened. I'm sure there have been people with pointy ears. They're not an elf. They just have the ear shape. They're just coincidence, man. Okay, so I don't see it, and I think it's really silly. And I mean, honestly, I don't really care about a live action remake of this anyway. I'd rather just watch the old one. So yeah, that's where I'm at with it, guys. Forget this new one. Just watch the old one. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not stereotypical. It has nothing to do with people with dwarfism. It's just a nice little story. Yeah. So the only thing you could have to criticize is maybe a young girl shouldn't be hanging out with like seven dwarves. You know, 7 male dwarves on her own. Maybe that's not the smartest idea. Maybe you know, you should the true love's first kiss thing. Maybe don't kiss somebody who's like unconscious. That's a little rude. Don't do that. But none of that is what he's talking about. So I you know, I don't understand. But yeah, anyways, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I hope to see you on the next video. And let me know what you think. I already said that. And hit the sub button if you want to see more videos like this. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace out, everybody.